Okay, so here's our system that we're going to start with. And we are going to use what's called elimination. Now, if you looked at the steps that I posted for the warm-up, or also I put on Schoology for you, the first step is blank. We're leaving that blank until tomorrow. Okay, so don't worry about the first step, step one. Just leave a space for it so that we can copy it down tomorrow. So step two says make sure equations are lined up. What I mean by that is everything needs to be lined up. X over X, Y over Y, equal over equal, constant over constant. It doesn't have to be in this order, right? It doesn't have to be in standard form. As long as your X's are over each other, your Y's are over each other, your constants, your equal signs, everything has to be lined up and down. Okay, and if it's not there, if it's not lined up, then you got to rearrange one of them so that they are lined up. Everything has to be lined up to be able to use elimination. Okay. And then what we're going to do is, well, let me explain why we can do it first, and then I'll show you what we're going to do, and we'll understand it. So we said way back when, way back at the beginning of the year, we said if we're going to solve this, we're going to add the same thing to both sides, right? You can add the same thing to both sides, and it keeps an equation the same. Right? That's what we've said. You can add the same thing to both sides. Well, what if I had two things that are equal to each other? Let's say I had a 4 on one side, and I knew that 4 is equal to a box. Okay, 4 is equal to a box. These two things are exactly the same. They're worth the same amount. Well, that means I can add 4 to one side and the box to the other. It's still going to remain the same. Not a great example because we don't know what 10 plus box is, right? But we're adding two things that are equal, one on one side, one on the other. That's what we're going to do here for elimination. Is we're going to look at this and we're going to say, all right, this 3x minus 2y is equal to -4. So I'm going to add this to one side. I'm going to add this to the other side. So I'm adding one part of my equation on one side, one to the other. That's the why, right? That's why we can do this. More important for you is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. All we have to do, once things are lined up, right? X over X, Y over Y, everything's lined up. We're going to add straight down. We're going to add straight down. And we're going to come up with some equation down here after we add straight down. So 3x plus 3x is 6x. A positive 2y plus a negative 2y, those cancel out. Right? Those cancel out or eliminate, as we would say. And then 4 plus a -4, those cancel out too. It's a 0. There's nothing left there. It's a 0. Okay, so we're adding straight down to combine those two equations. Okay, and in step 3 in your notes, it says one variable should eliminate. And it did. Right? Our y's are gone now. We don't have any more y's. We just have 6x is equal to 0. So all we have to do is solve for that variable that's left. Divide by 6, divide by 6, x is equal to 0. Well, that's the start of our answer. X is equal to 0. And then our last step, right, just like yesterday, once you know one variable, take that, plug it back in, and figure out what the other one is. If x is going to be 0, I'm going to take that. It doesn't matter which one you plug it in. I'll go to the top. That's 3 times 0 plus 2y is equal to 4. 3 times 0 is 0. 2y is equal to 4. That means y is equal to 2. That means our ordered pair is going to be 0, 2. Elimination is my favorite way of solving. I think it's the quickest. I think it's the easiest. There are times where it works great. There are times where it won't work great, which is where substitution or maybe even graphing comes in. But elimination, as long as we do it correctly, is going to work every time. And it's going to work pretty easily once we get going on it. So again, we're adding straight down, solve for a variable, take that number, plug it back in, get our other variable. Okay? That's what we're looking at today. All right, so let's look at another example of it. And let's look at another example. Make sure that we're okay here. Let's see. Let's go negative 2x plus 3y is equal to 4. 2x minus y is equal to negative 8. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to make sure everything's lined up. Everything is lined up. X over x, y over y, equal over equal, constant over constant. Everything is lined up. Again, if it wasn't lined up, we'd have to rearrange it so that it does line up. Very important. Everything has to be lined up. If it's not lined up, you can't start adding straight down yet. Okay? So then we're going to add straight down. We're going to do this one more together, and then you're going to do one on your own. Okay, so I'm going to add straight down. The x's are going to cancel this time. Negative 2x, positive 2x, those are going to cancel. 3y minus y is 2y. 4 minus 8 is a negative 4. Divide by 2. I know my x or my y value now is going to be negative 2. Take that negative 2, plug it back into either one. I'm going to use the top one. That's negative 2x plus 3, parentheses negative 2 is equal to 4. Simplify. So I have negative 2x minus 6 is equal to 4. Add the 6. Divide by negative 2. And I'm going to get negative 5. So that's going to give me negative 5 comma negative 2 as my answer. Okay, as you're looking at that, are there any questions on why I did what I did or anything about this stuff? Seems like we're doing okay. Let's do one on our own. Okay, so let me give you one on your own here. All right, let's see. Before you plug the number back in, is the first one always y? No, not necessarily. It depends on what variable is left after you add straight down. So this time it was a y. The first example it was x because the x's were left over once something eliminated. So it all depends on what canceled out and what's left on that one. Okay. All right, let's go. 3, where did I go? Here it is. 3x plus 2y is equal to 7. Negative 3x plus 4y is equal to 5. I would like you to go ahead and solve that. Okay, solve that system, please. Once you get an answer, if you want, you can type it in the chat, see if other people agree with you. All right, a lot of good answers there. So let's take a look. We add straight down, right? We add straight down. X's are going to cancel. That gives me 6y is equal to 12, right? We're adding straight down. So we divide by 6. We know y is going to be equal to 2. We take that 2, we plug it back in. I'm going to plug back into the one that doesn't have a negative just to make it easier. So I plug it back in here. That's going to be 3x plus 2 times 2 is equal to 7. I'm going to show all the steps, but we know if we can do it quicker, we can simplify it a little bit more, then we can go faster. It is going to be 1 comma 2, like most of you guys have. Good, good, good. All right. Good. So we will, we'll do one more. Okay. We'll do one more and then we'll be good. We got about 5 minutes left, which is awesome. Perfect timing. Let's do this. Let's go x plus 2y is equal to 13. And we're going to go y is equal to 5 plus x. So now this is where that second step, I guess, because we left the first one blank. That second step, make sure equations are lined up. We have to do that. So you need to rearrange something and rearrange it so you don't end up with fractions. Right? So I would rearrange, well, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to get y by itself. You just need to get y's on top of each other and x's on top of each other. So either move the x here, right? Or move the x here to be able to line everything up. So go ahead and try it, line everything up, and then add straight down, and let's see what happens. All right, so let's take a look. Again, I said we can rearrange this in different ways, either by rearranging the top, rearranging the bottom. I'm going to rearrange the bottom just because I feel like that's a little easier, but it really does not matter. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. By subtracting x on both sides, that gets that x over here. So that's going to be negative x plus y is equal to 5. And I'm going to write that x first because the x is first up here. So I'm looking at these two now. Okay, so now from there, x minus x, those cancel. 2y plus y is 3y. 13 plus 5 is 18. That means my y value is 6. I take that, I plug it back in, okay, and I could go into either one. If I go into the top one, that's going to make this a 12. X plus 12 equals 13. That means x has to equal 1. So we're going to end up with 1, 6. Okay, good. And I saw a lot of those right answers on the chat, which is awesome. Okay, any questions about that? The big question typically is what happens if it doesn't make it so that these cross out, that these eliminate. And that's what tomorrow's about. Today, it's always something's going to cancel when you add straight down today. Tomorrow, we're going to say, all right, if it doesn't, what can we do? But today, enjoy it when we can just add straight down and it's going to work. Okay. This afternoon, I will be on the Zoom from 12 to 12:30 for you guys. If you have questions, you can ask them. Okay, because it is time to go. And we'll see you tomorrow.
See you, Mr. Townsend.